Happy New Year. Yep.
Hello, and welcome to the Libri Labra book club. Today I am joined by my husband, John, aka BookTube Hubby, and also book club VIP member, Tom. And before we kind of jump into things, if you ever want to join us on camera, you can do that by becoming a book club VIP member at patreon.com/Libri Labra. And today, that's the book over there.
Happy New Year, guys.
Happy New Year. We're going to be talking about our December pick, which is Holidays on Ice by David Sedaris. And, we're obviously going to be going into spoilers. We'll do like initial thoughts really quickly and then jump into spoilers. But if you haven't read it yet, then go read it. It's fairly short. It's about under 200 pages. And yeah, so this is our holiday pick and initial thoughts.
I like David Sedaris, so I knew I was going to go in with I don't remember all of it, but initial thoughts. I was happy going in. Yeah, David Sedaris, yay. That's how I felt.
How about you, Tom?
I read it like 10 years ago, so
this is a reread for you.
Yeah.
Did they add stories to this?
They did.
Okay, all right.
The non-Christmas stories are the ones they had.
Okay. All right, because Barnes & Noble was selling it for like $5 at the cafe, and I was like, oh, David Sedaris, $5, I'll take it. But I noticed that there are some different covers for it, so I was wondering how it had changed. But that was kind of why I picked it up. I was excited. We've previously had a chance to meet David Sedaris. We still have that wind chime. But
the wind chime that the fan had gifted to him, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. We have.
So, I don't know. I feel a little torn between some of the stories. Like there were some stories where it felt like he was talking about him and his experiences, and then there were some that seemed very just fictional and made up and very nonsensical. And so I think I had a hard time with some of the more nonsensical ones. Maybe David Sedaris is kind of nonsensical anyway, but I felt like those felt very extremely nonsensical because
there were things and jokes he made that were references to other things. So that could be part of what you were not getting.
I mean, I feel like from a science perspective, the things that he was saying just didn't.
Oh, it didn't make sense.
No.
Maybe that's part of the humor. Yeah,
and I don't think that's my humor. So there was just a few.
That's right.
I was like, what? This doesn't make any sense. What are we even talking about right now? So those are kind of my initial thoughts at the moment. But I don't know, because this is like a bunch of different essays and short stories. I don't know how you want to kind of
attack it.
Yeah.
Spoiler territory, by the way.
Spoiler territory.
Yeah, sure. That's perfect. I don't remember what was where. I might have to be prodded for information.
Yeah, I'm sure you probably weren't paying attention to the title names of things either.
No, I was just listening to the stories.
Well, the Santaland Diaries was the breakout story of this collection for him, because I got him on NPR and I got him much more widely known than he was. So, in fact, the dedication that I see is Tyler Glass, who's in This American Life Post. Yeah, if you listen to it on the radio, though, it's a shorter version of what's here in the book.
That makes sense.
Yeah, they edited it for time, which I totally get.
I thought that one was funny, the intro, where he was talking about working at Santaland.
Yes.
There was, I don't remember what the exact line was. I think it was in Santaland where someone went to go complain to the manager, and he was like, crap, he said something offensive to her, but he was like, I. Say that, I said this.
Right.
It was just like, even more offensive, which I thought was pretty funny. But I can imagine that working at Santaland is an experience. And the fact that he was saying that they would, there were people that would come in kind of late, so they weren't going to get their pictures till like after Christmas, which I get that too. Like at that point, who even wants it? Like, what do you want the Christmas
Right.
pictures after Christmas for? Like, but that he would tell them that they were coming in August, just to like make them even see the look on their face.
Yeah, there's a lot in that story. Like his I guess we'll call it a relationship with his name was Crumpet Snowball. The other one out there. Yeah, and apparently Snowball was sort of with everybody, which you found out later. So, but yeah, it's basically his life and times as a 33-year-old person working as an elfin. But at Macy's, I think it was.
Yeah. I can't imagine. I would have imagined they had better HR handling some things they're dealing with, but
No, guess not.
uh,
I guess at a certain point, you just want bodies to fill the positions, and get what you get. That's at some point. So.
I'm obviously like not friends with David Sedaris, but I'm wondering if like he plays up a lot in his stories, or if that's just how he lives his life. Like,
I mean, life is ridiculous to every one of us in certain ways. I'm sure.
Desiree, I think you're after truth here, and you're not going to find that. Because truth is kind of beside the point. Funny is the point.
Yeah.
Never let the truth get in the way of a good story. So, I mean, if you're going to go that route, well, is the narrator reliable then? No, he isn't, and who cares?
Very.
I thought it was interesting when people were asking for particular sorts of Santas.
Yeah, we have spares on the back.
Yeah, it's like, I want the proper Santa, or whatever. It's like, how what it says about the people, not him, obviously, but
right.
So, one of the best things is the one Santa, the one that was, I don't know, it wasn't clear that he was like he was being Santa. It wasn't clear that he was acting a role. A little elf, the little.
I would actually probably have a conniption at some point. Like
Right, yeah.
if someone was doing that at not a theater type position. I mean,
Right.
they are acting.
Acting, yes.
Act the part, but overdoing it does get you a certain look from a lot of people, I guess. So,
yeah. Especially from the people you work with, yeah.
If you live your life, what is that? Method, yeah. If you live your life completely method, yeah, that's fine. Then
yeah, I understand that there are actors who do that and they're obnoxious, but that's what their like a better word method is.
Embody the role
Yep.
and be believable to the children, because children can spot bullshit from a mile away.
That's true. That's true.
I don't think I could do it though. I mean, I couldn't even tell my son that Santa existed, so whatever. There was no Santa. There is no Santa in our house, because I was like, why am I going to lie to my kid for years to have to take the lie away later?
That's a real spoiler for those.
Yeah. Ooh. Just meta spoiler.
No, not doing it. But we just had that whole conversation recently. Because I was like, but I told you not to ruin it for other kids. And he was like, yeah, but it was hard not to.
Yes.
They kept asking me questions.
He said they would ask me if I believed. And so that meant they had doubts.
You need doubt no longer.
I also appreciate the title, Holidays on Ice.
Yes.
Because each one of those had like some cold twists to them.
Right.
I think the previous cover also was like a drink on the rocks.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's true.
Who changed they did this for this year for Christmas? We did
What?
just get it like 2 months ago, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was like a reprint.
They got us.
On the cover it says author of Squirrel Seeks Chipmunk,
Yes.
which I'm surprised.
Oh, did David Sedaris like step into romance?
Well, if you know David Sedaris' writing, you think you know the answer to that question.
I'm just surprised it doesn't say like author of something else. But I guess maybe whenever this originally released, maybe that was what he had put out.
Yes, that was the popular title at the time. So.
Yes.
There was a whole section in the Santa Land one where he was talking about soap operas. And
Yes.
I used to watch soap operas when I was in high school, and it was just I don't know, fun hearing all the names and like what he was saying, and because I haven't talked to anybody about soap operas in forever and a day, so that was a little nostalgic, I think.
And that was funny because it actually brought him closer to that world. You know, because he met people who were like they worked on the set or what have you, and it's like, yeah, you never know who you're gonna meet. But yeah, that the soap opera thing carries through his stories, as you know. So that we have to think is true.
That's funny. What was the story after that? Season's greetings to our friends and family.
Oh yes, the Vietnamese girl.
Oh.
Yes,
Oh.
that was a dark one.
That one was crazy.
Wait, remind me.
It was where the 20-year-old Vietnamese girl shows up on her doorstep, and you know she's the dad's illegitimate daughter from Vietnam, like 20 years ago when he was
Okay.
gone. And what the wife did to try to alleviate the problem. Remember, Watch the Baby?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I was like. Was it the one with the baby?
Yes. Watch. Well, now it's not, but yes.
Yeah, that was.
So huge spoilers, right? That's what we're.
Yeah,
that's
we're
what,
already.
Yes. Yeah, we're in spoilers.
we're knee deep. So this is to have this right. I want to make sure I got it right. So the lady said, "Babysit my kid."
And she said,
Then-
"Watch the baby."
Then left.
Yes.
Then came back and framed her.
Yes.
Okay. Murdered her own
Grandchild.
to
Her grandchild.
her
Yes.
grandchild. Oh my God.
In the dryer.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
tried to pin it on the
The Vietnamese girl. Yeah.
yeah.
But the fact that the revelation was so far in coming is what makes the story so good.
Crazy.
You know, it's like,
Crazy.
and especially the way she writes about the neighbors. Oh yeah, they should watch their own things. And it's like, yeah, I was not going through their yard. Come in my house. So
Maybe that's it. Maybe I wasn't expecting the dark humor in this.
That's
'Cause I thought
surprising.
there was like, I don't know. I wouldn't like describe. Maybe I just haven't read enough of him, but I wouldn't have described David Sedaris as dark. Like
certain of his stories are.
Twisted, maybe.
twisted,
Completely dark.
sarcastic, but like.
I mean,
dark
that
to me-
sarcasm adds a darkness. I mean, you gotta admit that.
Yeah, but babies in a dryer, like that's another level.
I mean, how
That's-
much of that is
the
influenced
minute
by
you,
real
like-
life, though? Like, we just read stories about this crap all the time.
I guess.
I think perhaps Desiree, your issue may be that it's so horrific that it's not funny. Is that
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so. Yes.
okay? That's
I
my
was
issue with
never-
Coen Brothers movies from start to finish. But anyway, yes.
I was never a fan of the baby jokes. though I had friends who were. So, um, yeah, I don't know. This was just different for me. Different in like the formatting. Um, maybe because I believed most of it was like truthful stuff, that when it introduced like fictional, more obviously fictional stuff, I was like,
You mean like the
"What?"
cow and the turkey?
I don't remember the cow and turkey.
Oh, did you?
That's
you
not
get-
true.
How are you gonna go from like the second story to the last?
I don't know. Like what I'm saying, you said as you read along, so I was no, that's obviously not a real story. If the cow's talking, the turkeys.
What?
What do you mean?
And then Desiree
I'm
gets
sorry,
into
you
a
didn't realize
crying
you
fit
did
and
that.
and leaves. That would be great.
What was the next one then? Where are we at?
It's based on a true story, I think, is the next one, which is clearly a fabrication. Sorry,
This
Desiree.
has front row center with Thaddeus.
That's right. Yeah, yes, the center.
I don't
Where
remember
he
that one.
where he reviews the fifth graders like a professional reviewer. That was great.
I listened to most of this.
I'm gonna listen to it again because I blew through it pretty fast, and I don't know what I was doing that day, but
Mm.
now I don't remember half of this what we're talking about. So now I'm gonna have to do this again because
Mhm.
I thoroughly enjoyed the not how dark, but some of the dark humor and some of the sarcasm.
So the other person that was reading the audiobook was his sister Amy.
Yes, she's in it.
Okay, and then so which was the story that she read? Like the first one that she read. Was it based on a true story?
No, I don't know. She wasn't in it. I think that was totally him.
Okay.
I can't remember who ran. It was Season's Greetings to Our Friends and Family that had a female narrator.
Okay.
But no, the other, what?
Do you
I read the title of the next one.
based on a true story?
Well, after that,
Oh, yeah. Well, Christmas. Yeah, well, if you're going to go to Christmas means giving, I mean that was just really ridiculous.
that
Was that the one where people were giving like scalp and like?
was
Yes.
the family
Donating.
member,
Okay,
the two warring families that were like, we can give more.
Right.
Yeah, that was one of the ones that I was like, what?
Yeah,
See, it's something he does have his dark side. It's just he just shows it in different ways. So.
Yeah, I guess I don't know. I know I have like a very specific type of humor, and if it's like too silly, too nonsensical, like I like witty and smart, and so when it gets like a little too weird, I'm just like.
Yeah, but that's the thing. You have to accept the premise and then just go with it. Because if you
But
do,
I don't.
I know.
that's not very improv, Desiree.
Yeah.
Please join us in the improv world.
Like with the based upon a true story, it starts in reality, but as he gets further and further along into the story, when
It's not.
when it becomes apparent what he's going for, it's like. But the thing is that change is so gradual. It's like it's so really well written, that.
I might go back and reread that one.
Yeah, I know. I had to go back and reread Season's Greetings. Say, wait, where did baby come from? Oh, okay. But
Were these all written around the same time, or
I
like?
don't know.
It might be just a collection that was put together.
Yeah, it's a collection
for their themes.
Yeah. Like the original the Christmas stories were what a Holidays on Ice was, and then they added the other stuff to it.
Dinah the Christmas Mother.
Hey, where are we at? Because you're going back and forth, and we're not. We need to settle and talk.
Yeah, which one do you want to talk about?
I don't remember this one very well, but if you do,
What?
That was the one where, remember, that was the one was it Amy? No. One of his sisters, he was like dumping on her for being so pedestrian. And, and then all of a sudden she gets this call. Oh, she goes and out like in the middle of the night or whatever and goes to save Dinah from her pimp, apparently.
How many sisters does he have? Is it 2 or 3?
Let's see, Gretchen, Amy, and there's maybe 2 more, so maybe 4.
Okay. 'Cause I think like one of his sisters is Lisa.
Yeah, and one of them passed away, and I can't remember which one it was.
I'm not understanding what I'm looking at here. I don't remember I can't get the premise in my head of what this story was about.
What's the title?
Based on
a true story.
Oh, that was where he goes to that church, and he starts talking about like what are you doing here? Like his hillbilly voice.
Oh, the evangelical.
And it's clear that he like suddenly they had the story where the rural young lady, did a kidney transplant on her own and put the kidney in the child, and he lived. And he wants the rights to the story, and she won't give it to him. That's what it is. But it's so gradual the way he works into it. It's like that's brilliant. And he's offering them cars and refrigerators and like everybody, so they convince her to do it.
I mean, that's also that's crazy because I can see that actually stuff like that really happening.
Yep.
In real life, even though how ridiculous it might actually be. They're like, dude, we could buy them a refrigerator and they'll talk her into making us millions.
Mm-hmm. Cost of doing business.
But like, did we actually get down to the how and why that actually worked? Or was it just literally, like meant to be like a crazy out there story?
I'm not sure what you mean.
I'm trying to understand how meta the sarcasm is what I'm I guess I'm really getting at.
Well, yes, could you see that happening? Maybe. I don't know. Maybe not in this bold and outspoken way, but maybe it has. Who knows?
It's Christmas Day and all is right with this world.
Yes.
Is it?
So. Oh yeah, he has 4 sisters. Let's see here. Lisa, Gretchen, Amy, and Tiffany. And he has brother Paul. So.
And was it Tiffany that passed away?
Yes. He talks about that in one of his other books. I can't remember which one.
I feel like it's one of the ones we read because I remember hearing about it.
Possibly. So Christmas means giving.
Yes.
How far the rabbit hole did we actually go in there? Because I remember the one family was like, we gave him our 2 boys to do whatever, and then they found them dead later. So
yes.
What was worse than that?
I mean, I don't know if it's worse. I just remember the scalp for whatever reason.
A scalp? I don't remember a scalp.
Scalp.
Jesus.
Scalp.
That's it. I don't remember a scalp.
Let me see if I can find it.
Whose scalp?
It's the wife. I don't know.
Yeah, but that's basically, what was it, satire maybe on a grand scale. It's like how people were always about this arms race about getting stuff, keeping up with the Joneses. But,
okay.
Yeah, so to speak. But in this case, he turns it on its head and says, "Well, how about giving stuff away now?" In the same way.
how rich? Like how ridiculously short-sighted have the rich been in certain situations? You know what I'm saying? And I guess I'm thinking that's kind of a look at that. It's just like, yeah, well, we're doing so much more for this person, but you're not really. We gave
Yes,
him
I
a
know.
boat. What the what's he gonna do with the boat?
No, but it reminds you of the one picture where the other family took of them giving him the homeless guy $1. Like they're doing this great thing. And yes, and that to them it's like, oh, look what we did,
Right, but that's the point, though.
Yeah.
It was I guess
Yeah, but
I
it
don't
wasn't for him, it was for them, really.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, which is
right. Make us
much-
look good.
Yeah.
Hey, this is what we get back on our taxes here.
yes. Well, for them it's more the social currency of, oh, we gave to the homeless. See, here's that $1. It's like,
This
But,
line says the neighbors all wanted to send flowers, but we said we'd prefer them to make a donation in our name to the National Sauna Advisory Board or the Sex Offenders Defense Fund.
Sex Offenders Defense Fund. Yes.
but yeah.
Because their cousin is one of them. That's funny.
Yeah, but it gets that ridiculous, of course, to make the point. But
Right. And a lot of times there seems to be more than one point being made at a time.
mm-hmm.
And the one after that is Diamond of the Christmas War.
I think that was one of the best stories in the collection.
Really?
Yeah. Because I can't remember which sister it was. Was it Amy? I can't remember. But he like in the first part, he was totally dumping on her for being so pedestrian. And then she reveals herself to be
And then
that
she goes
badass.
and kicks somebody's ass and drags her out of the house. I don't think it was an older sister, right?
I
And
can't
there's
remember.
mention of Lisa in here, so
Yeah.
Then it's Lisa. Then it's likely Lisa. Yeah. But like I said, he spends the first
don't know
part
which is
dumping on her, and
yeah, her name was mentioned in here a bunch of times. So that's probably who it was.
so. Yeah, and then of course Lisa takes Dinah home, and of course the mom is there, and gives her like food or drink or whatever. So I don't know. I just like the transformation by the character. We get to know them, and of course, David is treating it as like, oh, he's not real. So that's one thing I like about David Sedaris' work. He does not hesitate to portray himself as the ignorant one, or like and that's where the funniest parts are.
Well, I think I like it because another reason, adding to that, is that he writes in a way to make you empathetic with what he's saying as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
like he puts you in that position to understand where he's coming from before he gets there.
right.
So that's
Yes.
what I like a lot about.
Yeah, yeah. We know he's the bad guy before he does, which is great. So, not that it happens all the time because he's not a bad guy, but like every so often. Yeah, every so often. Those are my favorite stories by him.
Yeah, he plays dumb a lot.
Jesus shades.
Yeah, but before we get to that, though, it's an interesting juxtaposition from the previous story about giving. Here's where Lisa actually goes and helps, actually legit helps somebody.
Yeah.
On Christmas, as opposed to the fictional thing.
Where people just outdo each other.
Each other, yeah, for social currency. Anyway.
Oh, what's that? Clout?
Yeah.
Yes,
How do
Clout.
you say that?
Yeah, that was that company, right? Clout.
Mm-hmm.
So why are we talking about Jesus' beard instead of him saving people? Does one celebrate Bastille?
Oh, this is one of the good stories too. Yeah, how they tried to explain it's in his French class where a lot of the stories come from, and they're trying to explain the holidays, and it's like, how do you explain Easter to somebody who has no clue what it is and has no reference to it?
Oh my God, yeah. Yeah. and the bell and
Yeah, it's
yeah.
a bell. That's fucked up. Yeah, us with the Easter Bunny. Yeah,
As at
that's
least
fucked
with
up.
the bunny, you have characters. Someone who looks at something and do something and move around. A bell. This is a freaking personality of a frying pan.
Right.
Yep, I remember that.
Yeah, because they happen to have a person who is from one of the Muslim countries. I can't remember which one. And he, like I said, what's Easter? And he's like, you don't really think of it because everybody else
Yeah.
probably does. And it's like, well, how do you explain that over a language barrier, no less?
Right. Yeah.
That's how you look completely bonkers to the next
Yes,
to the
yeah.
other person. Yeah, yeah.
Which they revisit
What?
that. They revisit that in the last story, the next to last story.
Is that us and them?
No, the one I'm thinking of is. Where the hell is it? I have to find it.
Oh, there's a few left. Okay,
Yeah, no, this is the one right at the end.
okay, never mind.
Right.
So us and them is when my family first moved to North Carolina. We lived in a rented house 3 blocks from the school where I would begin the 3rd grade. I read this. Why is it so blank?
I don't know. I'm still thinking about the language barrier thing because that's frightening to me. Like the way people go to different countries and don't know the language at all.
Right.
And like I just know that with my son learning Spanish right now, sometimes he'll want to say something very specific,
Right.
and like he'll have the words, but I'm like, no, that's not how you would convey that concept.
Yeah, the sense of it is wrong.
Yeah. And so like it just wouldn't be said like that. You just never say it like that. And then I'll find
Our
the
word order is
actual
different, too.
translation. Or not the literal translation, but more the conceptual
Right.
translation.
Yeah, the idiomatic.
And then he's like,
meaning
that
of
makes no sense. Why would I say that? That's just
Yeah.
how we say it. That's how.
Yes.
So like that, there's so much of that across so many different languages.
Oh, yes.
Absolutely.
Get that?
Yeah, because
Also,
the
I would say also like the word use, like the random things that people say figuratively.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Those.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Like
what Desiree said, you say out the words and they have sort of the meaning, but it's not the meaning that everybody knows it has.
Like when we say it's raining cats and dogs, we don't mean it's literally raining cats and dogs.
Yeah,
So,
go to
like,
the window to
that
look,
language,
sort of a thing.
You wouldn't say those words. You wouldn't say it's raining cats and dogs.
Mm-hmm.
Over exaggerations
they
are
would be
definitely a thing Americans do a lot.
Like
too.
who's throwing cats and dogs out of the sky?
Oh, it's only in cities with buildings.
But yeah, and often you'll have the same concept is expressed in very different ways. In don't look a gift horse in the mouth. I can't think of another equivalent one, but I'm sure there's one out there in a different language which has totally different words but conveys the same meaning.
I know there's one in Spanish, or it's either Spanish or Argentinian or something like that, where it's like basically I don't give a fuck. Or I could care less. I could care less, right? That's the
You could or couldn't care less.
I couldn't care less.
See, everybody says could care less.
Yes.
I'm like, well, then do it.
I couldn't
care less.
But like the saying in Spanish is like, I could give a pickle.
Oh, I actually read a.
See?
I actually read a thing.
What kind of pickle?
Yeah. I couldn't give a deal. I read a thing a couple days ago actually that was it would actually someone specified what language and what country and what they say in that specific situation, and it's all different.
Yeah.
What Spain says something about a cucumber.
Yeah.
And like
Exactly.
Norway has a completely different one that doesn't even make sense to us. So yeah.
Yeah, if you, I don't know if you read it. Me Talk Pretty One Days, I think has a lot of.
Yeah, I think that was one of the one we read
Yeah.
together.
Didn't we?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But-
He talks about going to school abroad.
Yeah, that's a short story. But it's like I said, it's um, packed with meaning. You know? Like, what does language mean? How do you communicate to somebody who has no idea or frame of reference of what you're talking about? So,
Um, one thing that I noticed that got my attention was that when they were talking about everybody having a different um, uh, idea of what holidays might be, or that
Mhm.
when the teacher started warning in like a robot type voice, that even some of the other country people were worried about that person's health instead of understanding that they were saying something. They were playing a bit. They were playing. They were acting out a character
yeah,
for
it's a
the
reference to
and
something.
and that is a very big difference. Like people don't understand. Like there's a lot of people that don't realize that we act completely differently than the rest of the world does.
Mm-hmm. True. Very true.
Just to make a reference, a point, make a funny. Oh
Mm-hmm.
my god! Do you know how many people actually walk out of the improv place because they're like, "This isn't what I thought this was."
Mm-hmm.
What does that even mean? Like,
Just they don't open up to the idea of something being completely different or funny or for any other reason than, wait, I don't know why they just said that wasn't funny, and some people, like, 30, 60 other people just laughed at it, but someone else would be upset, but
Can't please them all.
Yeah.
and not everybody understands that it's not always it's an act. It's not
Yeah.
something. It's not meant to be taken completely seriously.
Yeah. Spur of the moment. And sometimes you know it's just the pleasure is just seeing what ideas come up and what the connections are between them.
If I had a teacher act like a robot in front of class trying to warn somebody, dude, I think that'd be hilarious as hell.
Mm-hmm.
But have other kids be like, dude, is our teacher okay? That's okay. I get it.
Well, it depends on how often they do it, of course, too. Now, if they were method acting and walked into the class like that, that would be something different.
It's just taught like a robot for an entire
Yeah,
class.
well, yes, 100%. So, are we ready to move on to the next story?
it's us.
Did
us
we
and
did we
them.
talk about us and them?
No,
I
not
tried.
yet.
I thought we tried to. But
That
I
was
don't know.
the one where the neighbors missed Halloween, and that they came for the Christmas
Oh,
candy, for David's Christmas candy.
Christmas candy. I
I'm
mean,
sorry,
they still.
Halloween candy.
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
they gave him. They gave
yeah,
him. Yeah,
yeah. Sorry.
but yeah, I've. This story didn't seem that far off to me, to be honest. The fact that there is a family that would go about the next day to get
Day, right?
that's weird. But I
Mhm.
mean, well, I guess we're doing it now. And I'm
Yeah.
like, wouldn't you think that the rest of the world would be like, what are you doing? Instead of,
Right,
hey, I mean, mom went along with it, so.
right. To
But
her credit.
but
Yeah.
Jesus,
Yes, but you could tell David to do it too. That was just the funny part. Yeah, David tried to eat it all before she got into the room.
and I think he even made it sound like he was allergic to chocolate.
Yes. Yeah, it was
And then he was
something
like,
that.
dude, I'm
Yeah.
not missing out on this. This is mine.
Yeah.
I work.
I work for this.
I work for this headache.
Yeah. Yeah.
Crazy.
Well, aren't you allergic to chocolate?
No, what? Oh, because I react to it every time. I guess so.
What?
John wakes up with a big pimple on his face after he eats
Oh.
chocolate.
Gotcha. Well, it's just for Halloween, but a little outside. So.
I. What about
But-
Halloween? My
No,
brain
but-
just told me that you said just go eat a bunch of chocolate before Halloween.
Yes.
There's your... What did you say? I'm sorry.
Well, if you ever wanted a costume, you got one.
Yeah.
That's messed up. Okay. So
Oh, okay. I
Let It
remember this
Snow?
one. Yes.
next.
That's when the mom locks them all out of the house. because it was something about school that they were off school, but that would normally be the mom's time for like mom time.
Right. It
And
was
since
just like, no,
yeah,
you guys go outside,
like
like
yeah,
the rest of the world did in the 90s.
yeah. And
Don't bother me. The house
she
is
tells
mine
about
for the
locks the
day.
door.
Get out.
So they convinced one of the sisters. I think it was Lisa again.
Lisa said
Uh,
that bitch.
Yeah, yeah, and they convinced her to like lay in the road.
She refilled her goblet and left the room.
Yeah,
That's a pretty short one.
yeah. Which means it's more likely than not, somewhat true at least.
I believe it. We got locked out of the house
Yeah,
when we were younger.
Was his mom an alcoholic? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. He doesn't position it like that. He positions it as she just wants her dedicated, alone time, away from all the kids. Which any parent.
I mean,
I'm
it's
sure
a lot
does
of
that.
kids. Yeah. It's a lot. And then having a kid like David, who was,
Yes.
who was probably a total troll like all the time.
David, were you a troll? Were you just?
I don't think Amy was that different.
I
be
mean,
honest.
We follow her on Instagram,
oh my!
and the stuff she posts is pretty wild.
Yeah.
I mean, I always know it's like hers because something will come up that's so not related to anything else I have on my feed, and I'm like, "Who the hell?" And then I'm like, "Oh, Amy Sedaris." That's who posted it.
Still a fan.
Well, I know that for some of my Facebook friends, like I don't have to see the name if I see the content of the post. Like, yeah, that's that person. Sure enough, yeah, they're the one that posted it.
So the only thing I have to say about Let It Snow
Yes.
is that I'm tired of seeing the memes now where they said that my kids wanted to put Let It Snow on my windows and the LE is on a completely different side of the house. So it just says TITSNOW. And it is, I have seen way too many of people making fun of that now. And it's,
Yeah, it was funny the first time, but
yeah.
let it alone.
But now we know you're doing it on purpose.
On purpose, yeah. Yeah, and the next story kind of ties into the Jesus Shaves one. This is the story I was talking
You
about.
brought up the 6 to 8.
6 to 8 black thing.
That was ridiculous. That was.
Speaking of Christmas traditions, this was the Netherlands, I think? Question mark?
Was this is in Norway or?
Yeah, it's in one of the European countries. I can't remember which one. The Dutch, maybe? Holland?
I actually like David's mentioning of what the differences between cultures.
Yes.
That when the German dog goes vow vow,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, speaking of language differences.
yeah, it's all of that he brings to light is very interesting to me. I'd like to see some more of stuff like that in the world, like how we compare things from here to there. But they don't want us to see that.
Yeah,
stuff,
it's in Holland that he's in. Yeah, and he goes, and most of that, like after he gets done talking about the language differences of the animals, he starts talking about how Christmas is celebrated differently. Like here, France and Germany get its first changed on Christmas Eve, while in the Netherlands they do it on December 5th, which is St. Nicholas Day.
I asked several Dutch people to narrow it down, but none of them could give me an exact number. It was always 6
to 8. Yep.
Turns out Dancer, Prancer, and Vixen were different. I'm saying 8 reindeer. Why is there 8? Who did this? Who is this even okay? an entire country believes something complete. Well, I mean, it makes sense. But how different do things actually get from place to place? Like, what's the most ridiculous? Did he find it? Did he give us the most ridiculous, or is there more?
There could always be more.
Oh yeah, there's always more. There's always more content to draw from. It's just what the artist considers. And,
That one family in the middle of
Mhm.
of a state that nobody talks about anymore. And it's
right.
they've gone on for generations teaching their kids something completely different.
hmm Yeah, but in this one, it's just the way he talks about, Santa and 6 to 8 black men visiting your house at a random time
In the middle of the night.
in the middle of the night. Yeah.
Is there another? There's another one after this, right?
There is. Cow and the turkey. So you didn't read the cow and turkey?
I
Is that
don't
what you're
think
saying?
I may not have.
Okay.
Well, going back to the 6 to 12 story, I think that tradition has since ceased in Holland. I think the character that they were talking about was Black Pete, who was Santa's helper, but
Okay.
I don't think that's a thing anymore.
Interesting.
That's a recent update. So
I'd like to know exactly why. I don't want to make any assumptions.
well, remember in Europe also too they have the Krampus, which we don't have here.
Is that the opposite of is that the Grinch?
Krampus. Well, Santa rewards good children. Krampus punishes bad children.
Right. Okay.
So it's the flip side.
Oh, so they just put fear involved.
Oh yeah.
All right.
No,
Okay.
your actions have to have consequences. So yeah, these are it.
Oh, is that the thing they're talking about? He said that they stopped doing was they actually stopped pulling people out and kicking them, putting them in the bag and kicking them, versus now they just
Yes,
act
that's
like
it.
they just kicked them.
Yes.
So they
Yes, that's the one.
crazy.
But there's a movie, a Finnish movie that I love called Rare Exports, which plays on that. It's not Krampus, but it plays on the idea of a Krampus, and a little boy who fears that he's going to get punished. And it's Rare Exports. It's really,
Okay.
really good. So,
Did you watch Red One?
Not yet, no.
Okay. All
Did
right.
we watch Red?
No,
One?
I
Okay,
want to.
Yeah.
David's asked multiple times.
No, I saw the one you guys recommended. What the hell was it? It was something along the similar lines. You guys had seen it.
Was
I
it
said,
Silent
yeah.
Night?
Silent
Yes,
Night.
Silent Night, yes, that's the one.
Okay.
Yes.
Ooh, that one was crazy. That one
Um,
was very different.
Yes. And another different movie which I enjoyed, which I thought was pretty clever, was You Better Watch Out.
I mean,
So-
not
so.
surprised that exists.
Yes. But it was just the things that they did were pretty clever. I'll just say that.
So
It's-
I think the last two stories are to me and Tom, right? Is that how far you got?
I don't remember.
let's see.
Well,
What the
Monster
last two
Mash. Do you remember what Monster Mash is, Tom?
It was about the mortuary.
Medical
Yeah, where he
examiner's
worked in the
office.
mortuary, right?
Yeah. Oh, when I was young, I associated Three Dog Night with my 7th grade shop teacher, who probably identified himself as the group's biggest fan.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy, do you know who Three Dog Night is? Okay, maybe there's one song that you might know, but we'll worry about that later.
But yeah, again, his fascination with death and that side runs throughout his books. Because I can think of at least 2 or 3 other stories where he talks about that. But he said, yeah, this is when he was, I guess, as a teen, he got a job at, I guess, he somehow got himself into working at the mortuary, and he said he would take the people, seeing people as their constituent parts rather than the same person. So
I have a question.
yes,
Would you let your child dig up and rebury a hamster over and over again until it was completely desiccated?
No.
Apparently, he did that.
Well, yeah. Well,
He was
that's not,
fascinated. Right.
that's not really letting. That's just
Well, saying the parents never saw. Well, I mean, I guess it might be possible.
Yeah.
Parents never saw him.
The implication would be if they saw him doing this multiple times, yeah, I think that would raise a few red flags.
I just can't imagine.
But yeah, I guess that's sort of part of the science part. It's like, oh, it's a natural process, and let's see what happens.
I mean, and I get like sometimes doctors or people in those fields are intrigued by those things.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's,
Yeah.
I imagine there's
I mean, because you have to
percentage
be
of
like,
people
I
that
could
are
never,
very
I love
curious.
helping people, but I could never imagine performing surgery on anyone. Like, that's just not
Mm-hmm.
something
Yeah,
I
no.
would ever be able to do.
No.
So if you don't have that fascination, like, how could you possibly get through the schooling, do the actual thing,
Right.
all of that?
Just the confidence of knowing that you're gonna help
Yeah.
and not
Also,
hurt.
also too, when you work around, I would think death that much, you develop a certain sense of humor.
Callousness. to
Yeah.
it. So,
Yeah,
And
yeah.
a sense of related sense of humor, which out in the real world is like, oh my god, how can you say that? That's so offensive. But
Oh,
within their community, it's like,
yeah.
ha, and
Context is important.
yeah, and the listener is, what your frame of reference is important too. So
So you're gonna make sure we go back and run across this again, because I'll listen to it with you if you want.
okay.
yeah, it's
Make sure you finish this.
Yeah, read the cow and the turkey.
Oh,
That's it.
shall we move
That's
on to
his
town
fable.
turkey? 'Cause that's where we're at.
That's his fable in this one,
Okay.
and I love how he leaves it open ended.
The cow was notoriously cheap,
Yes.
so it surprised everyone when she voted yes for the Secret Santa scheme. It was a horse's suggestion, and she backed it immediately, saying, "I choose the turkey."
Yes. And then we find out why.
Holy crap! So, what do you think happens?
I have no idea.
The cow is notoriously cheap, and immediately. Oh, never. We'll read it later.
Yeah.
I don't want to. We don't want to spoil this
No,
one.
it's okay.
This is a good
You
one to
can-
spoil.
It's fine.
Are you sure?
Yes. Yes. It's fine.
Well,
Tom,
what
how far do you think we should spoil this?
I'm not sure the end is spoilable because he does leave it open ended,
Okay, right.
but it's a pretty short list of reasons why the cow would pick the turkey.
Yeah.
As the person that they're giving to.
Because the turkey is gonna die before Christmas.
Ding 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 ding! We have a winner. The turkey will be Christmas dinner. Is the upshot? Yes.
Holy cow!
That's not a nice cow.
It's not a holy one, no.
Yeah, but it's such a good story because, like I said, he leaves it open ended. It's like, oh, you'll see.
Well, do we have final thoughts and ratings?
I'm actually in the area of making David one of my favorite authors, and I want to read everything he's got. So 5 stars is going to go across the board for until he. I don't know.
I have
He
the
hasn't
audiobook
disappointed
for
yet.
one of his newer ones if you want to listen to it.
Okay. He's not disappointed me yet. So 5 stars. Thank you, David. Always a pleasure.
How about you, Tom?
I give it 4 stars. But yeah, it's a really good collection. It is not for, obviously it's not for children. I For some reason, with any holiday content, say, oh, no, not for kids. Sorry. But showing the darker side of the holidays as well, which is what I like as well. Is it as good as some of his other works? No, but it's still good. I would totally read it again. So keeping in mind keeping in mind David Sedaris is the person who got me into audiobooks. So anyway.
Did we read 2 books by him, or did we read 1 book by him before this?
Before this, I think this is. I don't know.
No, we read at least one other book by him.
I thought this was the second one.
Yeah.
Okay. I definitely like the other one more, but I would reread some of these, and I don't know. I feel like I give it like a 3.5.
Okay.
So.
Partial rating for partial finish. We'll adjust.
Wow.
Wow.
I don't see the cow in the turkey.
It gets better.
So for January, we're going to be reading The Ministry of Time.
Oh, I already.
And
oh crap!
You read it already?
Yeah, I might have to read it again just to make sure it's fresh.
Yeah.
Wait, who was the author?
Oh, my back is bugging.
Katie something or other? I can't remember.
Killian Bradley?
Yeah.
Who?
Killian Bradley. And
How do
this
you
is
pronounce
what
that?
it looks like. That's the cover.
I actually enjoyed it.
It was a Good Morning America Book Club pick, and also a New York Times bestseller. And I don't even know much of what it's about. I just know that I had a lot of people on my feed talking about how good it was, and I own it.
It's one of the books of the moment.
Killian Bradley?
That's what I was saying.
Killian Bradley.
Okay.
Anyway.
That is what we'll be reading for January. So if you have this on your TBR, please go ahead and read it and join us at the end of the month. But outside of that, thank you for being here, and we'll see you at the end of the month. So,
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.